Welcome back. In this video, I want to talk about the 2024 US presidential election. There's a week left to vote, and what I'm going to do is walk you through the reasons why I think that you should vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. One of the nasty aftershocks of the COVID pandemic was a dramatic rise in the cost of living, and it has made life difficult for far too many Americans. Global economic events are beyond the control of any president or party, but how a president reacts to them can make a difference, and by all objective accounts, the Biden administration has done everything in its power to improve the situation for Americans. As I sit here at the end of October 2024, the US has the strongest economy in the world, and inflation has come back down to reasonable levels, even if the cost of some goods remains high. Kamala Harris has been campaigning on a number of policy ideas to further improve the standard of living for low and middle-income Americans. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has promised to impose massive tariffs on all goods coming in from other countries, which many independent studies have concluded would lead to a huge increase in the cost of living. The consequences of the Supreme Court's 2022 Dobbs decision have been disastrous. It is now difficult or impossible for millions of Americans to access reproductive health care, and it has put countless women's lives at risk all across the country. But as bad as the situation is right now, things could get a lot worse. Given the right political circumstances, Trump could sign a federal abortion ban, making the procedure illegal everywhere, thereby stripping hundreds of millions of Americans of their right to make decisions about their own body. Kamala Harris has pledged to work to reverse the effects of Dobbs, and her running mate Tim Walz has already done so as governor of Minnesota. The Harris-Walz ticket is how we fight back against the Supreme Court that has been captured by ideologues who are out of step with the needs of the American people. Our immigration system has been broken for decades, and under the Biden administration, we've seen illegal border crossings rise to an average of 2 million per year. Earlier this year, the Biden administration did, in good faith, attempt to work with Republicans in Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform, and even agreed to some incredibly Republican-friendly measures to get the deal done. But Donald Trump called up his allies in Congress and killed the bill because he preferred to run on immigration rather than see the issue resolved. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, understands that the immigration system is broken, and she seems ready and willing to follow Biden's lead in working across the aisle to get it fixed. Even before Trump lost the 2020 election, he was casting doubt on the process, leading millions upon millions of Americans to lose faith in one of the cornerstones of our democracy. When he did lose, he hatched a scheme to overturn the results of the election, and when his scheme failed, he whipped up a mob to go to the Capitol and interfere with the final certification of the vote on January 6th. The violence that ensued on that day led to the deaths of half a dozen people, the injury of hundreds more, and the first failure in U.S. history to complete a peaceful transfer of power. Trump continues to deny that he lost the 2020 election, just as he continues to sow doubt in the integrity of our voting system, which, for the record, is by all objective measures one of the freest and fairest in the world. Trump has further refused to unconditionally accept the results of this election. I said this 4 years ago, and I'll say it again today. Donald Trump is a legitimate threat to our democracy, and those who try to downplay this are either dangerously naive or acting in bad faith. There are some aspects of the Biden-Harris foreign policy that I liked and some that I disliked, but nothing was more painful to me than the role that it played over the last year in Israel-Palestine. I was a big supporter of the uncommitted campaign during the primaries, and I think it actually did make a meaningful difference, but I'm asking my compatriots who care about the Palestinian cause to vote for Harris. I know that this has been the worst year in Palestinian history, and I know that the Biden-Harris administration didn't do enough to stop Israel from realizing its darkest impulses. But what I hope you will consider is that it could have been a lot worse, and that staying home or voting third party or voting for Trump is the equivalent of cutting off your nose to spite your face. Please hear me out. Trump's record on Israel-Palestine is clear. He moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. He recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. He put his dull son-in-law in charge of Israeli-Palestinian peace, and when his pathetic efforts inevitably failed, he decided to go for the Abraham Accords, which completely cut the Palestinians out of the equation. This last move was a big part of what set the stage for October 7th and its aftermath. Kamala Harris, for all her flaws, is not Joe Biden. In fact, the reporting is that in the Biden administration, Kamala Harris was a voice for protecting Palestinians from Israel's onslaught. What's more, given the current far-right swing in Israeli politics, it's not difficult to imagine Trump giving the green light to an Israeli government that decided to annex the West Bank and expel its Palestinian residents. This is a nightmare scenario, and I'm sure you'll agree that Kamala would stop it. So that's my pitch for Kamala, folks. I want to close by reminding everyone that presidential elections in the United States are binary. Don't throw your vote away on a third-party candidate. Don't stay at home just because you don't live in a swing state. Vote like our way of life depends on it, because it kind of does. We need a strong and unequivocal repudiation of Trump and Trumpism in the popular vote, as well as in the Electoral College. So figure out your voting plan and pull the lever for Kamala and Tim. Thank you so much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Until next time.